If you're feeling a sense of deja vu, it's because I reviewed the Monstrum Panzer 1-6 2 months ago, but in that time, Monstrum has updated the illuminator. Now it's a red illuminator that they claim is daylight bright, and we're going to find out if that's true on this episode. Quick unboxing here, nothing much has changed since I last reviewed this scope, except the box got slightly smaller, but otherwise, it's the same contents inside the box. This is the Monstrum Panzer 1-6 power by 24mm LPVO, and this is the newest release of this first focal plane LPVO. This distinguishes itself from the first release with this illuminator knob. This is now a 1-6 with an off in between, and this is now only in red. The first release had a 1-5 with both red and green illumination, 5 intensities for both, and an off in between each of the color settings. This promises to be truly daylight bright, but we'll see that in a bit to see if that's true. Now this overall looks pretty much identical to all of the other Panzers that I've tested and had a chance to look at. Has the nice clean lines of Monstrum's LPVOs, but this one, like all the other Panzers, has a unique tank tread inspired design grooving on its contact surfaces, and it's much more aggressive but similar tank tread inspired design on its turret caps. Now the tank tread is because this is named Panzer, which is German for tank or armor, and that's why they just chose to use this design, which both it looks cool and is a good amount of grip in both cold with gloved hands and with wet hands. So it does perform a good function, and there also is a little bit of grooving, tank-like grooving along the illuminator, and the illuminator turns pretty average, typical for an LPVO. Now let's take a look at these turrets. These are half MOA per click, and they are user resettable. You just, after you set your 0, you can unscrew that and pop it off and put it back, set the turret to 0 with an indicator dial though. But let's listen to these turrets and check them out. All right, they're audible. They're not the loudest I've tested, but they're certainly audible. And they are tactile positive, though a bit mushy and light. There's a little bit of slop before you get to the clicks. And let's check out the windage. Oh, louder. And a little bit more tactile positive, but again, these are a little bit mushy before you get to the clicks. But they look identical to the other turrets on the other Panzers, the 1-10 that I reviewed a year ago. Now let's check out this magnification ring. Oh, smooth. A little gritty sounding, but pretty smooth. Actually fairly easy to turn, but not super loose. I can turn it with my fingers fine, and I do appreciate the fact that it does come with a fin, and this is unique. This fin is removable should you want to. There's a screw there. Screw that, you can slide it off and you can go finless, or you can actually replace the fin with a throw lever that you would screw on after you remove this fin. So you have that option, either way you want to go. Let's check out the diopter here. Okay, again, it sounds gritty, but it actually feels pretty smooth, and it turns smoothly, so that's good. And be sure you adjust your diopter for your eye and to give you the flattest image through your LPVO. That's one of the critical things, because this does not have a parallax focus. These are fixed focus, and you will be needing to you'll be wanting to look through both eyes with an LPVO at 1 power. All right. One other thing I would like to point out is that it does come with these high quality looking cantilever mounts, and even though this is a budget setup, and Monstrum is known for releasing very affordable, budget friendly optics, this is anything but a budget mount in terms of how it is designed. It's got lightning cuts, it has torque screws, and 3 Picatinny compatible recoil lugs at the bottom. So these are pretty nicely designed mounts, and I do appreciate that they include them with this optic, and I mounted this after getting it out of the box. So there you go. We're going to test this out and see if it performs as good as it looks. Before we get into the test, I'd like to take a quick break here and talk about this episode's sponsor, Aura. You've seen the news with those massive security breaches at those big companies that have compromised mine and probably your data. And that's why it's important to have personal digital security. And that's why I use Aura. For the price of a typical VPN, not only getting VPN service, but I'm getting spam blockers, junk mail blockers. In fact, they're removing my name from those damn broker lists. And they offer a comprehensive suite of services, including fraud alerts, scam alerts, and credit monitoring. Try it out yourself for free. Go to aura.com/moondog and sign up for a 14-day free trial. No commitments. And you're helping support this channel. You know, identity fraud is a real thing, and with AI, it's all too easy to spoof your identity. That's why you should try out Aura. All right, let's get back to the tests. We are looking through the Monstrum Panzer at 1 power to get our best overall view through the glass. And as I bring it around, I'm looking for any distortions around the outer edges, and I'm not really seeing it. In fact, as we bring this teal green car in and out of the scope view, it retains its size and position. And if we look at this telephone pole, as I bring it over to the outer edge, it looks pretty straight, and it lines up with its position in the real world. So those are good optical characteristics, because as we increase magnification, we are just magnifying all the faults in the glass. Now let me lock this down and we can look at that magnification. So I bring this up to about halfway in its magnification range to 3 power. And that still looks pretty darn good. And the sky is gray today, not blue, so that's not anything in the glass. As we bring this up to its maximum of 6 power, the image is still really good. I can make out the trail marker sign at the top of the hill there. That is a 8-foot tall pole with a 36-inch-ish steel sign atop it, which is a good proxy for an IPSC target at this distance. But more importantly, if you look at the tops of the tree branches as it meets the sky, I don't really see any significant chromatic aberration, which is very remarkable for a budget LPVO. It's a good opportunity now to take a look at our illumination, because you really need the illumination to pick it out from a cluttered background. So let me put it at its lowest power of 1, and now its highest power of 6, and that is visible. And let me bring it down to a sunlit object here, and it's still visible, but let's just see, is it visible when you get it down to 1 power again? And yeah. And even with a cluttered background, I'm still able to maintain a visible aim point. Now that is the sort of bare minimum, I would say, is for what I would consider to be daylight bright. But yeah, this is probably the brightest first focal plane that Monstrum has. We're looking through the Monstrum Panzer at 1 power at our targets 100 yards away. Now let's bring it up halfway to 3 power. And now up to its maximum of 6 power. Alright, let's take a look at these turrets and their range of adjustments. I'm going to start with the elevation here. That's pretty good. And it's keeping on going. Alright, and that is the top. Alright, let's bring this back down and see where our bottom is. Wow, okay, that is quite a wide range of adjustments there. Wow, it's taking a while. Let's get that to 0. Okay, now let's take a look at our windage. All right, and that's it. No dead clicks. Let's go back. You can get tired turning these turrets get all the way to the other end. And that is all the way to our left. Okay, let's get this back to 0. And okay, all right, let's do a box test here. I'm gonna do a full rotation on our elevation. Now a full rotation on our windage. Now back on our elevation. And back on our windage. And it looks like we're just a fraction of a hair off on the windage. Still not bad for a budget LPVO. And honestly, it's a capped turret LPVO. You really should be using the reticle for your wind holdovers. Let's move up to 50 yards and look at those reference targets in greater detail. Alright, we are looking at our targets now at 50 yards at 1 power, and let me crank this up halfway to 3 power, and now all the way up to 6 power. Alright, taking a look at our overall image, I can see a little bit of chromatic aberration on the target frames on the left and right side, and on our center reference target backing board. Now looking at the target on the lower left, I can make out hits on the reactive sticker target, and in our resolution chart on the bottom right, I can make out horizontal and vertical lines down to element 6 in group -2. And with my naked eye, I can kind of see element 1 in group -1, but not as clearly. I'd like to thank Monstrum Tactical for sending out their newest version of the Panzer for me to test and evaluate. And no, they're not going to be calling this the Gen 2 Panzer or even the 1.2 version Panzer. They're just calling this the Monstrum Panzer still, because apart from the Illuminator, which is now daylight bright, nothing else has changed. It still has the same glass, same design, same construction as the Panzer that I reviewed a few months ago. But just like that one, I think this is an amazing budget LPVO. In fact, dollar for dollar, and in terms of how it performs, I think this is probably the best first focal plane LPVO you can get under $500. In fact, I recently compared this head-to-head versus a $2,000 SIG Tango 6T, and you'd be surprised how well the Panzer held up. In fact, I like the 1-6 Panzer better than the 1-10 Panzer, and that's because this has a slightly more forgiving eye box. But, you know, my priorities are different. I don't really need the extra magnification and range. Perhaps you do. Let me know in the comments why you'd pick a 1-6 versus a 1-10 in an LPVO. I'd like to know. But if you are interested in picking up the 1-6 version of the Panzer, well, I've included product links as well as more information in my full write-up at moondogindustries.com. Use that link in that article and help support this channel. And of course, by just hitting the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell buttons, you're really helping this channel out a lot. And those are absolutely free. Just hit that like button and the subscribe button. Just takes a second and it's absolutely free. So thanks for taking the time to do that. You be safe out there. Moondog, out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.